I request all of you to silence your mobile phones so we take a good morning. Good morning. Good morning once again, all of you. On behalf of Rural Management of Rural Society, Principal Dr. Y. Khade, sir, and Dr. PANKAJ KOLHE, who is alumni of our Implementation Department. And for this interactive session on DIAS today, we have Dr. PANKAJ KOLHE, celebrity guest, Dr. Y. Khade, Principal of our college, Dr. Priya, Head Alumni Relations of our Education Society, Dr. C.B. Kadu, sir, Head of the Department, Education Department, Dr. L.J. Alumnus Dr. from Mechanical Engineering Department. So once again, on behalf of the our team, I welcome Dr. Pankaj. And as a part of protocol, we receive the blessings from our Father Father, and I request the dignitaries from the diocese to perform the puja of late Professor Dr. Tripathi and late Professor Dr. Bala.
I request all the students who are sitting in the rear end to please move in front. This function is for you. Kindly occupy the first row as well.
Thank you very much. Dr. Pankaj done his PhD and he will be completing his postdoctorate also. And he's working in Pforzheim University in Germany. And he has many skills. It will be a very short time today to introduce Pankaj in brief. So when we start this session, I request Pankaj to briefly introduce himself. So it is honor, Pankaj, to welcome you here, and I request Dr. Walter, Principal of our college, to give his statement.
Okay, good morning everyone, and welcome to Dr. PANKAJ KOLHE, back to your alma mater, sir. And on behalf of Honorable Chairman and Radhakrishnan K. Patil, sir, we would like to present to you a small token of love and respect from your alma mater. So we request you to kindly accept and open.
Thank you. When we were discussing with Pankaj, he was very much interested to discuss with you all, and he wished to keep this session as more interactive. Whatever time he wished to spare, that will be more on the interactive session. So we'll be discussing with you all, right, the journey from engineering to MS, PhD or postdoc, and whatever are the opportunities in higher studies as well as in research and industry perspective. So I request all of you, whatever you feel to pursue the career in those fields, and note down your questions because session will be more interactive. And if Nikish's presentation, I request you to make it more interactive. Thank you. I request signatories to continue, and I request Pankaj to start over.
Dear friends, would just like that entire section has been organized for you, and we are very grateful to the alumnus for having joined us here so that he can guide you. Okay, so he has done his UG, his PG, his doctorate, and now he's doing his postdoctoral studies. As since majority of you would feel uncomfortable if all of us would be sitting here, so we are going to move out, and the entire session would be just you and Dr. Pankaj Kolhe. Okay, so please feel free to ask any doubts that you have with regards to his experiences. Okay, see that you get the maximum benefit out of this session. Fine, thank you.
Hello. So shall we start? Everyone is ready. So once again, myself, Dr. Pankaj Kolhe, doctor because last year I finished my PhD. So since last year I can use this title. There is no need to feel sort of difference or something like that because I am also passed out from the same college. Like 15 years before, I was also sitting where you are sitting currently, right? So I think we are more or less similar to each other, and you can easily decide the same path to follow what I followed. There are some beautiful memories of PREC, the college and the department. So most of the efforts what we did during our stage in PREC at this university, this college and also in the department of instrumentation. So you all are from instrumentation department or from different departments? From different departments. Okay. So I am here actually for holidays because I sit here in Loni, and that's why I had no idea that I had to speak here. So unfortunately, I could not prepare any kind of presentation. So
I requested to have a board and to write something. Otherwise, if I continue talking, only talking, it will be a little bit boring, you know. We will try to make this session as interactive as possible. So you don't have to wait till the end to ask any kind of questions. In between, you can disturb me anytime if you don't understand anything or if you have some doubts or if you have some questions. Yeah. And when I finish my talk, then again you have 100% time to ask your questions. Yeah. So try to make it as interactive as possible. Yeah. So we enjoyed, I said, a lot of time here. So it was not just about studies, but it was also about other activities, cultural activities, interaction, group discussions, and all the stuff. Engineering will not be all the time serious studies, yeah. So I was the cultural secretary of the college in the final year. I organized the gathering. We had some interesting Teachers' Day organization on 5th of September. Because final year in the first semester, everyone has to go for a seminar presentation. Most of my friends, they were not on the stage before. So it was for the first time that they were planning to come here. So I said, we will do something. And then on one day, we asked all the professors that you sit in the department, and we will take over the lectures. So one day, the final year students took all the lectures. So in this way, they got the opportunity to come over here, speak, see the crowd, interact with the second and third year students, and then it was easier for them to present the actual final year seminar, right? So quite interesting. Everyone was quite professor. So now I will come to our main session. So the whole discussion is more or less like a flow. We have to understand everything is connected with the other thing. I'll start with my final year project, and the project was implementation of an application on digital signal processing processor. The name of application was Spectrum Analyzer. We had a small DSP kit in the department. No one had really idea what exactly we could do with the kit, the processor. And we said we will try to explore the architecture of this small DSP kit. And we will try to find out what we could implement on it. And the application, what we found out is Spectrum Analyzer. And for that, a couple of times we had to visit IIT Bombay during our final year. There we could interact with some of the professors, some researchers. We could see the atmosphere there. And finally, we were able to understand whatever was required for us. The architecture is quite complicated, but what was necessary for us, we could understand it. We could implement this application. And it was an interesting project. What was more interesting is I found the world of digital signal processing quite interesting because of this final year project. And that's why I would suggest that when you select your final year project, try to select it in the field of your interest or the topic of your interest. Everything, whatever you do, everything, you do small project, you do big project, it has to be connected with each other. If you don't use the knowledge that you get from your previous work and don't try to use it for your future work, then the knowledge more or less gets lost. You know? So today the problem is that we have so much information because of your WhatsApp and Facebook and everywhere. You're bombarded with information. But what you have to understand is the information is useful only if you are able to use it effectively. Right? So try to plan every phase of your life, every small project, every small activity, every small course, whatever you do, with a goal, with a vision. Right? So the vision is important. Otherwise, whatever you do without vision, it doesn't make any sense. So you're just doing something. You're moving something somewhere, right? but without direction, it doesn't make sense. Okay, so the selection of your final year project is very important. Try to select it in the area of your interest and with a vision. After 5 years, after 10 years, after 15 years, whatever you want to do, how this project will contribute to your goal, right? And that's why I give you my example that this project, what I did in final year, it motivated me, drive me to think about the field of digital signal processing. Because I was studying instrumentation department and DSP is coming more under embedded systems. So afterwards, the same knowledge, the same interest, I started exactly from here, where you will be starting after some time, after finishing your studies, same position, right? How to get the first job? That was an important question for me. It was relatively easy for me to get the first job because my focus was defined, right? My area was defined. ESP at that time was considered a little bit complicated because it involves more mathematics. And what I studied during the last 4 years, it had no direct connection with it. So we had, of course, DSP subjects, we had the background, but the kind of understanding what, let us say, electronics and telecommunications department has about DSP or computer department has, that is somewhere missing in instrumentation. But still the focus was clear, and that's why now the area is clear here. We are focused. I want a job in the field of DSP. I want to work on DSP processes. So it's not like what job is coming to you, but it's like what job you want to do. Right? So you should be able to define what you want to do. It's not like from somewhere something is coming, good salary, looks good, I will do this. Afterwards something from somewhere will come, oh, it's better, I go there. No. Once your fundamentals are strong, once you have the potential, then the rest will come automatically. Money is the last thing that you should think about in the beginning, right? It's the last thing. First, you have to build up your potential. You have to build up your capabilities. You have to build up your skills. And that's why this focus is important, right? So you agree with all this stuff, what I'm saying, yeah? And that's why I didn't try for IT, Infosys, and all these companies, but I was trying to search for a company which will work on core DSP processors and DSP field. That was the intention. Now the question is, I'm sitting here in PREC, in Loni, right? I have no friends in Pune. I have no contacts with any other companies. I in fact have no knowledge about which companies are there. So how should I go? Yeah? Big companies are going to hire people with 4 years, 5 years, 10 years experience, right? And these are the companies which are going to give you ads in newspapers or in other job reports. So you'll find that, okay, we need such and such a kind of engineer who has 5 to 10 years of experience. You don't have any experience, so it's not a job for you. And these are the only advertisements which are usually coming when you are searching for a quality job. So what are you going to do in this case? So a simple strategy, what I applied during that time, and which might be useful for you also, is you try to go read these ads and try to go there. You don't have experience, you know that you are not going to get interviewed, you know that you are not going to get the job, it's fine. Go there. There are other people who are going to come for the interviews, right? Who are having 4 years of experience, 5 years of experience. What my intention was that I could get in touch with these people, right? So these people already know which are the small companies who are working in this field. I interacted with one of that person who became later a very, very good friend of me and who is now currently in US. So I said that I'm no pressure, this is not the job what I'm looking for. Even if they offer, I'm not going to take the job because the profile just doesn't match to my skills and to my knowledge. And then he suggested me one small company where he used to work. And he gave the address, he helped me, and that is the way how I got my first job. So that's one way of getting into the exact job you want to do. You know, this is one strategy. There are different ways of doing it, but this is what I followed exactly, starting from here to Pune and getting the job. I continued with this job for around 2.5 years, and then what might be interesting for you is I started thinking about higher education in parallel. So not after finishing that 2.5 years, but immediately the first year itself, I started thinking about higher education. And then, of course, when you want to go for higher education, then you have to give certain examinations. Yeah. So the first examination which I appeared was GRE, Graduate Record Examination. I think today the format must have changed. They have tried to make perhaps a little bit more online, but the concept is same, right? And then I gave IELTS, International English Language Testing System, which is also important for most of the students. It's based upon what kind of admissions they want, where they want to go. They also give proper test of English as foreign language. So this is going in parallel with my work in Pune. So today I would try to make it a little bit organized way. As I said, there is no PPT presentation. If I could have got some advanced notice, then I could have prepared it. But let us keep it as simple as possible. Easy to understand, easy to focus. We will speak less, and we will focus more. Yeah. So I will write here 3 words. Have some better pen, or this is the only word we have. Okay. So you can see 3 words I have written on the board: academics, industry, research. Right? And that's why I kept the topic or the title of today's presentation as higher education and research from industry perspective. So academics means I'm talking about higher education. Industry means I'm talking about something that makes a student an engineer. You know? Without industry, you cannot call yourself an engineer. You have to understand that, right? You can speak for hours together. You can write for hours together. You can have a number of qualifications in front of your name, but you will become an engineer only when you work in industry, right? That practical experience, that practical knowledge is very, very important. And practical knowledge experience comes by doing. You have to do something. You have to create something. You have to build up something. You have to develop something. You have to implement something. You have to test something. You have to design something. Yeah. And when you go through all these phases, then you can say that now I am an engineer. Whatever you are doing here, when you are studying, you are moving in the direction of becoming an engineer. So this is all you are trying to satisfy initial requirements of becoming an engineer, right? But without industry experience, you are not an engineer. You may call yourself academician. You may call yourself as a researcher. But industry is something that makes you an engineer. Very, very important to understand, right? Do you agree with this? And that's why some of the people ask me, is it really important to have industry experience before I go for higher education? So I say that there might be different opinions, but my personal opinion is yes, you need to have industry experience before you go for masters or before you go for higher studies. Why? Why? Because till you get your BE, most of your knowledge is restricted with books. It's theory. And you have absolutely no understanding about what are the practical problems. You might understand a concept perfectly, But the same simple concept, when you try to implement in industry, you will face number of problems. And then you will understand that life is not so easy as it looks in the college or in the books. Yeah? And this is something that teaches you a lot of things. This is called as experience. Yeah? And after some time, I will tell you what exactly I mean by experience. So when you have experience, how can you differentiate yourself from someone who doesn't have experience? And these are very small things which you learn only through your experience, only by working. Yeah. If you listen from someone, however intelligent he is, it's only knowledge. You have improved your knowledge. You have improved your information. But your capabilities, your skills, they are as they are. Industry. And that will make you an engineer. Once you have industry experience, then you can say, now I'm an engineer. Okay? So engineer is a very important word, very big word. It's not like you get the degree and you become an engineer. No. Okay? Is it right? If you don't agree, then you can also say that no, we don't agree. It's possible. You may have your opinions, I have my opinion. I may agree with you, you may agree with me, or we both will not agree with each other. It's fine. So why is B here? Just exactly like you. And I am doing postdoc. Doc stands for doctorate. You know, you call it PhD or some people call it doctorate. And post means after doctorate. So when you get an opportunity to do a very high level specialized research focused on a very specific topic, then you go for postdoc. Yeah? Otherwise PhD is sufficient. Right? To move from BE to NS, you need to go for certain examinations. As I said, GRE and IELTS. So I'll share my experiences. GRE consists of three main parts. One is the English section. So during our time it was for 800 marks, English. Second section is aptitude section, which is again for 800 marks. And the third one is a write-up section. So you have to write an essay on a given topic. Yeah, and it will be rated, I think, on the scale of 1 to 5. So 5 is like the best or maximum marks. And then 1 is the minimum mark for essay. And then the other two sections you are given out of 800. So the questions are in the increasing order of difficulty. So if you answer the first question, then you get a difficult question. If you answer the second question, you get a much more difficult question. And in this way, the exam progresses. Yeah. Now I studied here, so I'm living in this area in Loni actually from last 26, 27 years. I studied my school in Pravara Public School. You must by now know or you must have heard about it. It's an English medium school. During that time, we were quite lucky to go there. So English section for me was okay. It was not difficult. But if you are not having your education from English medium school, then you might have to work a little bit harder. Yeah. There are a lot of words which you have to understand, which you have to sometimes memorize to get good marks in English section. And I think for engineers, that is a little bit challenging because aptitude is more like basic mathematics, yeah, and logic, right? So they will be asking you some questions on the basis of maths and some questions on the basis of logic. So engineers, if you are completed your BE, then you should not have many problems with aptitude section. So then that should be easy for you. You are from English medium school, then English section should not be a problem for you. But if you are not, and you have to spend a little bit time or more time in the English section. And then you have to spend a little bit of time on writing your essay section, on the topic which is given to you, right? So this is all about GRE. Yeah. So I prepared for GRE while I was doing my job. I took like 20 days leave before the examination, and I appeared for it and qualified for it. Intention was to go to United States for higher studies. Unfortunately, I could not get the exact university. So this is again a focus, what I'm trying to say. It's not that I apply for 10 universities of US and then I get any university and any course and I go there and do my MS. I will not suggest such kind of stuff. You have to be absolutely focused. I want to go to this course in this university, finish. If I get it, I will go. If I don't, I will look for something different. Yeah? This is the way I followed, and it works really fine. Sometimes people say that you are not flexible. You should be flexible, but you have to define where you should be flexible and where you should not be flexible. Right? And that is exactly an important phase. You have to plan which university you want to go. Understand the requirements, what are the courses this university is offering, why you want to specifically do that course. Does doing this course has any kind of connection or link with your previous projects, with your previous job that you did? You know, if you select something different than whatever you did before, it's useless. Again, not completely useless because experience doesn't go waste, but the kind of impact your knowledge and your experience should have on your future career path, it will not have if you don't plan systematically. So it's a very minute planning concept. No? Very minute and systematic planning is define the university where you want to go, define the course you want to go, and after completing that course, remember very well, remember and listen very carefully. After completing that course, what will be your next step? What will you learn from that course? What new skills you will develop? And taking those skills where you want to go. This has to be everything planned. Yeah? You cannot say, okay, I will go there and I will see and do the course, and then I will think about, okay, where I want to go. When you apply for the universities, when you prepare for the GRE, think about it. When you feel that the course and the university, what I am doing, it needs very high marks, then you have to think about the exam and everything. You have to prepare extra hard so that you can get those marks. Right? So it's not just preparation of GRE, it's also in parallel preparation for the university, for the course that you want to apply. Yeah, it's not like I will see how many marks I will get in GRE. If I get good marks, I will apply to this university. If I don't go, yes. Yeah. IELTS or TOEFL, as I said, I could not get admission to the university which I wanted. So I decided not to do TOEFL because my US plan was cancelled. I decided to go to Australia. Right? In Australia, they require IELTS, International English Language Testing System. If I could remember 15 years before when I gave my IELTS, it also has a couple of sections. One section is the reading section, so where you are given certain passages, you have to read it, and based upon that passage you have to answer certain questions. Right? That is one part. Second part is listening section. You will be given headphones, you have to listen certain discussion or certain topic, and based upon that topic, you will be asked certain questions. So they will test whether you really understand English. They will test whether you can really read and understand English, listen and understand English. Right? And I think, if I remember correctly, then the third part is they will give you a topic. It's like one-to-one discussion, and you have to speak on that topic. Okay. it will be a spontaneous topic. You don't know in advance what topic will come. So we have to like be prepared for anything. And they really want to actually test your spontaneous English speaking skills. So suddenly if something is given to you, some topic is given to you, and how will you immediately prepare yourself? Right? So that's what we want to test with this speaking section. So you get a topic, you have to speak on that topic for I think 10 minutes, and then they will give you the marks. Right? So this is IELTS, and these are how you have to prepare for it. So there are books available, there are courses available. You can refer the courses, you can get the books. Now because of the photo area is smiling. Where I was thinking I am talking about preparation, exam preparation, and why there are smiles on the face. It's serious topic. People are tensed, or how I should prepare for GI, how I should prepare for ICS, or here everyone is smiling. So I qualified for IELTS. You have any questions regarding GRE or you have any questions regarding IELTS? May not be now. At the end, again, you will get a chance. So you can think about if you have any questions. I think there is this Dilip Academy in Pune and some other academies where you need any help or assistance, and they can help you to prepare for the exams. Here, after IELTS, I applied for Australian universities, and during that time, 2 universities were the top ones, which also fitted my criteria. The first one was RMIT University. RMIT stands for Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology. And so I qualified for this RMIT. And the other good university in Australia is Queensland Technical University. It's also a very good university. This RMIT is located in Melbourne. Right? So afterwards, because of some reason, I cancelled this also. But one of my friends, he went there, and his feedback was it's a good university. So I give you the same feedback. That's a good university. And the other one is Queensland. It's also a nice state and nice university in Australia. The costs actually in US and Australia are quite high. During that time, it was like 20 lakh rupees for 2 years, almost 10 lakhs per year. Yeah, my analysis was not so much in detail about Australia and about industries in Australia, because this is all you have to analyze, you know, not just the university, but the country where you are going. Are there industries regarding your profile? You know, most of the people, they just go abroad without thinking about this background. So I said, this has to be a link, a complete link connected to each other. You decide your course, you decide your university, and when I say you decide your course, then you have to think what skills I will develop after doing this course, and how the skills are required in that country. Are the skills required in that country? As far as my knowledge is concerned, for example, in Australia, automation industry, production industry is not so strong as compared to Europe. What is strong in Australia is tourism. What is strong in Australia is agriculture. What is strong in Australia is, for example, mining industry. So you have to also analyze all this stuff. Yeah? Otherwise, you will finish your course, you have your MS, and what should I do? Now, no one requires me. Yeah, I'm a person no one needs. Isn't it? This happens. So, also you have to analyze the requirements, the industry requirements of that country where you are planning to go. Because if you're investing like 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs on your education, At least you have to make the account nil. Even if you don't earn more, you have to repay the loan or whatever you get, educational loan and something like that. For that, at least you should have some job. And if you don't do this analysis, if you don't study this, then it will become difficult. So also have this in mind. After this initial analysis, I cancelled my plan to go to Australia. And in between, I applied for German universities. The risk factor with German universities is the language. Right? You need to speak German. Since last 10 years, I am speaking only in German. So if I can speak, then you can also speak. Right? So I think in last 11 years, this is the first time I am speaking in English. Otherwise, at my workplace in Germany, with my friends everywhere, it's only German what I do, what I speak. And of course, at home Marathi, so Germany and Marathi, these are the two languages. English is like, after a long time, I'm speaking English. Risk factors you have to analyze when you decide. So, on one side, for example, automation or instrumentation, Germany is very, very strong. A lot of industries. The best kind of automation in the world. Yeah. The engineering education system is fantastic. Practical oriented. You get opportunities to work in the industry during your studies, after your studies. Everything is fine, but you remove German language and you become handicapped. Because you cannot communicate. So your area becomes restricted. So only English speaking jobs you will be able to do. So most of the people who are going from here to Germany, they are very less, first of all, let me tell you. Because Indians normally prefer to go to English speaking countries. It's easy. You don't have to learn a new language. So they go to US, they go to UK, they go to Australia, they go to New Zealand, they go to Canada. Europe is like the last option. If I don't get anywhere here, then I think perhaps. So if you are ready to learn a new language, then Germany is a fantastic country, I would say. In 12 years, I never had any kind of negative or bad experience, provided what I told you before, focused. If you lose your focus, no one can help you. If you are focused, everyone will run behind you. Yeah. Difficult, but it's the best way to do. So I said, okay, Germany is the only risk factor, other factors are good enough. It's difficult to get admissions to the universities of your choice. The competition is too much. Because the money is less, what you have to do. Yeah. So most of the universities, at least now, are free of cost in Germany. Because it's a socialist country, it's not a capitalist country like US or like UK or other countries. So they think that education is the right of every citizen and it should not be charged. Yeah. Good thinking, right? Our government also has the same thinking, but just we fail to develop our government institutions. Otherwise, we also work on the same thinking. India also works on the same thinking. Only thing is the government institutions are not efficiently developed. In future, if we could manage to develop these government institutions, then education will also be cheaper and of high quality in India. Yeah. So I applied for a couple of German universities. I got rejections from a couple of them. I got acceptance from a couple of them. And then out of that, I selected the best which I wanted to go with. And this is how the journey from BE to MS started and completed. From US to Australia and then finally settling down to Germany. Have to do it. A lot of time, lot of efforts, and a lot of hard work just to select the right place, the right course, the right university. So you will get an understanding about how much effort, how much planning you have to do to select the next step of your career. Your career is very, very precious. You have to understand that. You have to define it, you have to build it. Okay? And that's why you have to spend a lot of time and efforts in planning and organizing it. So see how many efforts are there. Job is going on. Why job is going on? Because without industry experience, it's every theory, books, only books. Job was important, 2.5 years. Higher education is also important, so do it in parallel, plan it systematically. So when I reached Germany, I already had 2.5 years of industry experience. That's an important point which you have to note. Yeah. This industry experience gives me a confidence that I'll be able to do something. It gives you a different level of confidence because you have seen much bigger issues in industry as compared to in your life. So you become mentally tough to handle it. And that's why when students ask me that it is really important to go for industry experience before MS, I say, please, my personal opinion is yes, you should have skills. Skills are important. Skills is what makes you a genius, not just the knowledge. Okay? So, where is my pen? Research is still no research here. It's only academics and industry. Okay? There is no research. When you are working in industry, it doesn't mean that you are doing research. It's only that you are understanding certain machines, how to operate those machines, how to design certain things. Yeah? What is the industry culture, how you plan your projects. Yeah? So now you can really ask me that what I learned in these 2.5 years. So I learned a lot of things. We don't have so much time otherwise, even if I start discussing all this stuff. In short, I will tell you what I learned in this 2.5 years of experience. Few words. This is what I learned in 2.5 years. So there are different projects, of course. So I'm not talking technically. I'm talking in general. Whenever a technical project comes to you as a BE qualified engineer, or not an engineer, still you are not an engineer. After this, you will become an engineer. As a BE person, you are expected to understand what the project is all about. Yeah? So you have to interact with the person, with the company which is giving you the project. You have to understand what they are expecting from you. It's a very important stage. If you are making a mistake here, the rest will all go away. Right? So the most important thing is you should be a good listener. Yeah, you have to listen properly. What the customer is telling you, what the other company is expecting from you. That you have to listen properly, and then you have to plan the project. You have to carry the design activities. Okay? Once you plan, the project is divided into different modules or different parts. So let us say a project is divided into 10 modules. So the implementation phase consists of these 10 modules. module 1 to module 2. So most of the times, every BE engineer who is working will get one independent module. Why I'm telling this is you should know what is expected from you when you become bachelor. What is expected from you when you complete your masters? What is expected from you when you complete your PhD? And what is expected from you when you complete your postdoc? Right? So the industry is having certain expectations from you. So they say that if he is a PE, he should be able to do this. If he is a master's, he should be able to do this. If you're not able to do this, then it's only a certificate. Right? So you should be able to understand the company and its requirements, the technical requirements of the project. You should be able to understand. And it may not be possible to understand immediately in the beginning. So you have to ask other people, your seniors, your colleagues. So you have to just ask and ask and ask and ask in the beginning. No one is going to come to you and say that, okay, this is this is that, this is this. Training is given for, I would say, ITI or diploma people. BE, ideally, you should not expect training. This is the first step of self-dependency. Self-driven. You should be self-driven. You should try to plan it on your own. Then you should raise questions. You should ask questions. And they say that initially 100 days, when you join a company, initially 100 days, no question is a wrong question. You can ask anything, anything. So there is nothing to think, oh, if I ask this, it's the wrong question or something. There is no wrong question. It's only a question. Try to understand this. The better you understand this, the better you will be able to plan and design the project. Once you prepare the modules, every engineer gets a module to complete in a defined time frame. Try to do it independently. So when I say independently, then try to work on yourself. Whatever information you need, you should try to get it from yourself. You should try to ask the right people. You should try to search on internet in the right way. You should refer books to understand the concept. Yeah? Many people say that, oh, I know programming, I know how to implement it in C language, it's sufficient. I would say it's not. You have to understand the background here. You have to understand the technical knowledge, the technical background. Right? And then you will be able to implement it in an innovative and creative way. If you want to do it in the same way, like what others did, then you don't need deep understanding. But if you want to do something different, same program, the same task. For example, you know FIR filters, you know IIR filters. It's not new. Many people have implemented them before. Every time when you do something, try to ask what new I can do. Okay? And if you want to do something new, you should have new ideas in your mind. Right? And to have new ideas, you should be well prepared at this stage. You should know everything about that algorithm. You should know everything about the project. You should have more knowledge than what others have. Then you can give some new ideas which others don't know. This is important for efficient implementation. Now, what is important to understand is you are not the only person in the company or in the industry. 10 engineers are working on the same project like you, and everybody is having different tasks. Yeah? So, one person will give you his task, you have to integrate that task in your project or in your module, and then your module you have to give it to another person, he will integrate your module in his module. So, it's all like collection and integration. This you have to think here. How can I implement my work so that it will be easy for integration? Okay? To integrate it, it has to be tested. There are two kinds of tests. One is software test, one is hardware test. Right? And there are a lot of things which you have to consider. Testing is like We have to also prepare for situations which are not present at the moment, but which may appear in future. Yeah. And then finally you deliver it. If you have the best understanding at this stage, this is called as perfect delivery of your work. If you spend less time here, you have to spend 2 or 3 or 4 times more here. At any stage, if you make mistakes, it's more costly as compared to you make mistakes here. So the standard industry practice is spend more time here. Unless and until you understand it properly, let it be. But you spend more time. And only when you understand it properly, then you go ahead. Of course, you cannot take 1 year to understand this. There is a time frame. You spend more efforts. So in 2 days, if you have to understand it, then spend 18 hours, 17 hours, 11, understand. And this is how it works. So this simple project description, any technical project works in this on this principle. Okay? This is what I learned in 2.5 weeks. So I could much better understand the architecture, how the projects are implemented, how you have to interact with the other companies, other project partners, your partners, and so on. Right? After 2.5 years experience, MS in Germany, and then you have to go do your master thesis. What is the difference between BE and ME? Again, after you finish your MS, what is expected? As a BE, you are now responsible for only one module here. Right? There were a lot of people who were involved with you during the project. Yeah? Now, after doing the MS, it is expected that this whole thing you should do alone. Right? That level of understanding you should have after completing your masters. After completing your PhD, it's expected that this whole concept should be developed by you. So the idea of the project should come from you. And it should not be just a regular idea, but it should be a creative idea. Okay? And then finally, when you complete your postdoc, then it's expected that you generate completely new ideas, and not just one, but number of ideas in parallel. Right? So here you are working only for one company on one project. After this, you are working in parallel with number of companies on number of projects. So currently I am working with 6 companies in parallel on different research projects. And 6 German companies, everything is running in parallel. And if I do this successfully, then they will give me this title. If they feel that no, I cannot, then I will be degraded to PhD. Right? In the field of automation, for example, what I learned new in Germany, how is the work culture? It might be interesting for you to understand. How is it different from the work culture in India? It's interesting to understand in Germany. So in short, I would say that they spend a lot of time in planning. Planning, planning, and planning. Every minor planning, every small step has to be planned. And before you finish planning, you will not start. Right? And that planning, so now you say, oh, if you spend so much time on planning, how will you finish your projects? Right? That's an important question. Isn't it? Is that the question, right? If you spend so much time on planning, every minor planning, how will you finish the project in time? Start the project and the planning as early as possible. That's the only way, right? If I say that I need 2 months for planning, then it's better that I start as early as possible, so that I will comfortably have 2 months without disturbing other projects. Yeah? So start early, as early as possible, and plan. Third important thing, the difference what I observed in Germany is simplicity. Simplicity. Simplicity of planning, simplicity of execution, simplicity of implementation. Everything has to be as simple as possible. In India, the perception is, if I speak in a simple way, I'm not so intelligent. Is it right or not? If I speak in your language, if I try to speak in a way that you can understand, I can understand everything, it is not intelligent. If I speak something complicated, you will not understand the word, but you will say, oh, this person is very intelligent. Right? And then I ask, why do you think that he is intelligent? He will say, because he was speaking something very different, very big, very great. Yeah, but what he was speaking, I did not understand actually, but he is fantastic. Strong conception. Right? Strong conception. You are intelligent, you have understood the concept, and the test is how simply you can present that concept so that others can understand. And that's why when someone asks me what is the difference between BE, MS, PhD, postdoc, I will say the higher level of simplicity. It's not complexity. Complexity for me. Complexity is on my side. But when I speak, here my concepts are not so clear. That's why when I speak, sometimes I myself don't understand what I'm speaking. Forget what others understand. Right? So I understand 50%, 50% I don't understand what I speak, but others will understand 20%. Then more clarity comes here, then people start understanding me more. So it's expected. But the real test of your knowledge, your qualification is after postdoc when you speak, whatever you speak, it has to be simple, clear, it should have only one meaning. Whatever I speak, the same thing he has to understand, the same thing he has to understand. There should not be any confusion. Right? And if there is any confusion, I should try to correct myself. So one sentence when I say something, it should have the same meaning for everyone. Everyone should understand it in the same way. What I want to understand. Otherwise, it should not happen that I want to tell you something and you understand, everyone understands the same, but other exactly opposite what I'm saying. So we should be on the same platform. And the clarity and simplicity is what the qualification means. Right? This is my opinion, this is my observation, this is my understanding. You may agree or disagree, but this is what I feel. Higher qualification means better clarity, better simplicity. Third important factor what I learned in Germany. Well and perfectly documented stuff. If I'm doing even a simple work, I should document it as clear and as simple as possible so that anyone who comes after me to do that work or to do that project further, he should be able to understand it. Right? He should not do the same work again. He should not spend time on the same task. Right? Simplicity. Well documentation. Yeah? Try to present the most complicated concept or the most complicated idea in a very, very simple way. Right? So this is how you have to. And sometimes even if you explain your technical concepts, you have to use some other examples to explain it properly. Right? So these are the ways that you try to develop your employees, that you try to make life in industry easy. It has to be well coordinated, it has to be well supported by each other, it has to be well documented, it has to be simple to understand whatever work you do. Right? All this makes life in industry easy, German industry easy. plan what I said. I, for example, know what I have to do in 2021 now. So after 3 years, or in the next 3 years, what I have to do in Germany that I know now. Isn't it a good plan? Isn't it a good planning? Isn't it a good use of resources? Can I prepare myself well when I know in advance for next 2 or 3 years what I have to do? Till November 2021, I know exactly what I have to do. I don't have to ask anyone what I should do tomorrow, what I should do next month, what I should do in 2 months. Why can't we plan in that way? So when I have a clear picture of the next 2 or 3 years, I can prepare myself, I can build those skills, what I need right now. Yeah? That's how it works. My observation says that we have extremely talented engineers and people in extremely talented. Comparatively, the population of Germany is very less, and comparatively, very few people are interested in engineering. They think that engineering is very complicated, mathematics is very complicated. I want to live a peaceful life, happy life. The roads are nice, everywhere, cars are better, I have money. Why I should spend so much effort in engineering? But complicated. Medicine is complicated for us. It's too hard efforts, too much efforts. I don't want to become rich. I don't want to make my life complicated. So there are very few people who are aspiring for engineering in Germany. Then the question is, despite of all this, why Germany is the third largest country, economy in the world? Not even the size of Maharashtra. 80 million population. Engineers, few engineers as compared to us. We have much complicated brain structure and much complicated intelligence and much better skills to solve problems. And such a huge force India has. So what is lacking is plan. Systematic plan. Simplicity. Everyone speaks the way he understands. Everyone drives the car the way he wants. Right? There is no coordination. Lack of coordination, lack of organization, lack of planning. Intelligence is there, but just intelligence is not sufficient. Right? The hard work and the hardships what we face, it's nothing. There are no hard work, there is no hardships in general. Everything is relaxed, everything is fantastic. So we should be like 5 times, 10 times ahead of them. Only thing is we are lacking planning. Yeah? Let's speak on the third section, research. How many of you think that research and innovation is important? Raise your hands. How many of you think that it's important? Be careful when you raise your hands because I am going to ask the next question why. Now the hands are down again. And there should be logic, right? When you say something that is important, then you should have some logic. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. I feel important. I don't know why I feel important. Why it's important, but I feel. So, can I see the hands again? How many of you feel research and innovation is important? I saw some hands here. Now no one is raising hands. So you don't think that research and innovation is important? So you think that what Indian Satellite Research Organization is doing, sending satellites here, there, everywhere, it's like they have nothing better to do. Right? So they say that instead of sitting at home, let's send some satellites. Or Baba Atomic Research Center, BAC, very strong names, government institutions, DRDO, Defense Research Development Organization. So they are doing some work, right? They are doing research, they are doing innovation. So why do you think that this is important? How many of you think that research is a costly affair. It's costly, we don't have money, so forget it. We will focus on work, on job. How many of you think that research is very, very costly and India cannot afford it? No one thinks so. So everyone thinks that research is not costly and India can afford it. But what I should understand? What is your opinion? Is research costly? Is research important? Okay. So at least we have some opinion. Research is important. Now, anyone, can you tell me why research is important? Anyone? Or should I pick one? Someone pick. Okay, who would like to answer why research is important? Who would like to answer? Yeah. So you can sit and say. In your life. Okay, so for progress, research is important. Okay. Any other answer why research is important? Sorry?
For new technology.
For new technologies. Okay. So you feel that after doing research, we will be able to develop new technologies in our country, which will be our own technologies. Right? It will be patented. So we will have the right to decide who should use this technology and who should not use this technology. We will decide what we have to do with this technology. Do you understand what I'm saying? Research. Possible only with research. Yeah. To make your life easy. Okay. Also interesting. I will clarify it a little bit more. The great Indian Prime Minister is busy with Swachh Bharat today, right? Swachh Bharat. So you see some politicians taking the broom and cleaning the streets. Yeah? And it's expected that you should also do something like that. You should not throw, yeah, you should not make garbage on the streets and all this stuff. As an engineer, it's always important and it's always expected that you should ask yourself that how can I use technology for all these things which are happening around me. Yeah. So instead of picking up the broom, is it possible to develop a low-cost device, a low-cost machine which will do the work on itself? It makes life easier, right? So Swachh Bharat is also there, engineer is also in action, you're all doing some research, you're doing some technological innovation, and most important thing is it's useful for you and your own people, your own surroundings. Research need not be always costly. So research directly satellite launching, research is 1 billion Indian rupees here. Research could be small, research could be simple, and it's called as applied research. Applied research means you're defining your goals, your targets, what you want to do, right? In a very small way, very defined way. So what I said just now. These are Indian streets, Indian roads, everywhere there is mud. I want to clean these streets. So the machines or the devices which are developed in Germany or in US, they are developed for their streets. And so can I develop a device which could do this cleaning work automatically? Is it possible to develop a machine which will identify the garbage itself, pick it up and dispose it somewhere else? Can you not think about such a kind of project as your final year project? It's a research. Yeah? It's applied research, simple. In a time of 6 months or in a time of 1 year, you will be able to do something. It may not be perfect, but you will start. And then the student who will follow it will pick it up further. And you will have some nice device which will start working. So what can I use? How can I use my technical knowledge to implement it? And And as I said, without implementation, you are not an engineer. You are becoming an engineer only when you bring the ideas what you have into reality. Right? Very simple example. The trains are there. Can't you take up simpler project which will improve the efficiency of trains, for example? Yeah. Why are you waiting that someone will come to you and say, okay, this is the project, this is what you have to do and do it? This is spoon feeding. Yeah. Find out the projects for yourself. Approach the concerned departments. Tell them that this is my idea. This is what I want to do for you. This is what I want to do for Indian Railways. This is what I don't want to do for Swachh Bharat. This is how I want to contribute for smart cities project. These are my ideas. This is the cost, minimum cost which it will take. If they find it interesting, they will invest. Contribution to research, contribution to your nation. We are being ruled by Mughals, then we were ruled by English. That's why we lost that kind of confidence, that kind of self-dependency, that kind of organization, that kind of coordination. And that's the reason why from 1950 till today, we are working in services. The biggest company, Indian company today is TCS, Tata Consultancy Services. Indians are everywhere going in services, or they are contributing to other countries. Now the time has come when we have to think about starting our own research. We have to innovate our own things, right? Those things which will be used for ourselves. We have to build up roads. Can you think of building up some machine or whatever machine that is available? Can you automate it so that the roads could be built faster and in an efficient way? Yeah. This is the job of an engineer, right? All the time you cannot just keep on changing governments. Oh, this government is not good, we'll bring that, that is not good, this will be that. So what is your contribution as an engineer? This is what you have asked. How can I contribute to the development of this nation as an engineer? How can I use my knowledge? Right? This mentality has to be changed. Why there is no company? Why I cannot start an industry in London? Why I have to go all the time to Pune or Mumbai for jobs? Right? Why I cannot start companies and industries in my area? What I have to do for that? Why we people cannot come together, 4 or 5 engineers, and start their own startup? We have got one of the best firms, right, for supporting the startups. So these are the ideas which engineers have to ask themselves. And then automatically you will be motivated to do research. So as part of my PhD, I got the opportunity to work on 2 or 3 research projects. Every project normally runs for 3 years. So 3 years you have to do the same stuff for the research project. So they will give you the problem. You have to do your research and come out with the best solution. That solution has to be accepted, right? And then this phase in 3 years you have to complete. So the first project what we did was implemented in Egypt. That small city is called as Hurghada in Egypt. And by the side of the sea, we have implemented this research-oriented freshwater plant. So it was a plant completely based on renewables. So we used solar energy to heat the water. So the water was taken from the sea. It was processed and then finally at the end used to get fresh water. And the importance was for this whole processing plant, only and only natural energy was used, renewable energy was used. And then I was responsible for the automation part of this whole plant. So in a year, 1 or 2 times I have to travel from Germany to Egypt, go and implement all the stuff what I need to do And it was quite interesting project, I would say. Every year you have to present your results at different conferences, right? You have to organize workshops, you have to organize meetings, because you're not the only person who is involved in this project. It is having a budget in the range of 1 to 3 million euros. So a lot of other companies, institutes, research institutes, all are involved. Everyone has been given his own task based upon their specialization. So that was the first interesting project what I did as research and part of my PhD. And during the same time, in parallel, I was busy with another project with a company in Cape Town, South Africa. So there we tried to implement hybrid power system, more or less similar concept, but considering the local conditions. And yeah, one more project was there, research-oriented project with some other partners in Europe. It was regarding how you can better technical education system in developing countries. Right. So what is exactly missing here? For example, how we could change the Indian system, how we can improve it. It was also again a 2 years project. And combining all these 3 projects, and finally I made the defense of PhD. Currently what I'm doing is I'm working on my postdoc. So as I said, we have built up a network. It's called as Innovation Network. And this Innovation Network consists of 6 small and medium-sized companies. Because after PhD, as I said, my focus was on small and medium-sized companies. Because the big companies like Siemens, like Bosch, they have their own research departments, right? So they don't need anyone. But there are a lot of small and medium-sized companies like with 50 employees, 100 employees, maximum 500 employees in Germany who are really doing very good work. They are rich companies. The whole plants are completely automated. The best kind of automation, instrumentation, you will find there with the small and medium-sized companies. So the only problem is that they don't speak English. Siemens speak English, Bosch speak English because they are international. But these German companies, they speak only German. And that's why they are less concentrated, so less focused. So my intention was to work with these companies in the field of automation. And that's why when I got this opportunity, so I immediately picked it up. So what exactly I'm doing at the moment is I'm coordinating with all these 6 companies. I try to understand what exactly is happening in these companies, what is the state of automation of those plants, of those production systems. Yeah. And my conclusions are that the plants and the systems are completely automated. It cannot be further automated now. So we have come up with a new concept, and it's called as autonomous systems. So automation, from automation to autonomous systems. So the meaning of the word autonomous is self-driving systems. The self-driving is, automation is like, you are automated, but it's not self-learning. The system doesn't learn on its own. Now, further step of automation is autonomous systems, where the systems will start learning themselves. So like robots. Robots will have a basic program in it, and then it will start learning. So it will identify your face and it will say, okay, this person brings tea. So whenever you come to the house, it will bring tea immediately to you. Because only once you have to tell him that bring tea. Yeah? So you don't have to make any changes, it will learn itself. When she will come, robot will say, okay, she needs a coffee. He doesn't tell every time, bring me coffee, bring me coffee, bring me coffee. Learning process. Between 7 and 9, this person has a bad mood. So he says every day, and he learns, okay, but 7 and 9, be careful. He's always environment indicated. So the machines have to learn all these things by themselves. So this is called as automation and autonomous systems, for example. Automation was mainly focused on functioning of machines, how the machines could function in an automated way and how you could improve their efficiency. But apart from the machines, apart from the main devices, there is also planning involved, as I said. If you want to produce something, if you want to produce this bottle, right? So you will get an order from someone. So I will tell you, I need 100 bottles, please produce it for me. Yeah. So now you are doing the planning. So you say, okay, I have two machines, every machine is producing 50 bottles per hour. So I need two machines for 1 hour to produce 100 bottles. This is what you are doing. Yeah? And after the bottles are produced, yeah, then the bottles are forwarded to the delivery department. And then they will deliver it to the customer. So when you have saturation in the machine automation, then you think about how can I automate the planning process? How can I automate the delivery process? Right? This is what you would think. And that is called as autonomous. Autonomous systems means self-planning systems, self-organizing systems, self-learning systems. So this is the advanced version which we are working at the moment. So a simple example is you have given this order, yeah, and now you say that I want a small, or I want to change this sticker. This label I want to change. You have decided spontaneous. What is written Sai Ganesh, I want to write it in a different way. Yeah, I don't like this sticker. I want other sticker. So you don't have to go through the whole process. You should be able to sit in your house and you should be able to directly communicate not with the person, but with the machine. So you tell the machine that I want a different, and give an example, what you want the sticker to look like. Yeah, you will send it through internet to the machine will stop, it will understand the change in design, and it will start producing the next bottles with this design. So there are keywords what I'm telling you about autonomous systems. M2M. Does anyone know what M2M means? Intelligent people. Machine to machine. P2M is person to machine. And P2M is, sorry, things to machine. Things. This stands for things. So machine to machine, you understand, right? So if 5 machines are working on a project, they will communicate with each other. They will plan among themselves how they will execute the order. So the first machine will tell the other machine, okay, till 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I am busy with something. Then after 2, we can all work together and plan. Or I will come and join you in production. There is no person involved. They will decide and plan themselves. Person to machine is you are interacting with machines. So you are making some changes with the machines. And things to machines is all other smart things which are present in the industry. So these things will interact with machines. The things will interact with machines, they will collect data from somewhere, and they will provide this information, this data to the machines. So communication of smart sensors, smart things, smart watches, whatever is smart, give the machines this things, these are the things to machines. So very simple. So are you bored or you have some time? You have some patience. Otherwise it's also enough. I can start interaction. But if I don't speak, sometimes I forget that it's a lot of time. A very simple example and then we will stop, right? So how exactly research ideas are developed in industries, right? So now when I'm doing postdoc, then they expect that everything I should do on myself. Everything. So I will not be guided by anyone. Right? I will not get any help from anyone. I will not get any suggestions from anyone. Right? So I have to go to every industry. I have to see what is happening, what is the state of automation there. And then I have to suggest what could be better. Yeah. What is the scope for improvement? What is the scope for further development? I have to understand that in which direction the world will move in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. What will be the new innovations and new developments? I should know what is happening in the conferences. What are the research topics? What are the research discussions? Then I know that okay, in the next 5 years, the world will move in this direction. The world will move in that direction. Yeah. These are the new things which might come after 10 years. So all this knowledge I should collect every day. And based upon this and the understanding of the system in industry, I will prepare my first report and I will try to make some suggestions. Yeah. So I will suggest 1, 2, or 3 topics, research topics, which the company I think should invest its time and efforts. So they will say, okay, you give your presentation. So my first presentation will be my suggestions. What the company should do, where the company should invest in research. I'm not talking about business here. I am not talking about business. I'm not a businessman. I'm an engineer. So I'm focused on technical stuff. So whatever I suggest, it might be not good for business. It's possible. I don't know business. I know only technical stuff. I know machines, I know systems. I don't know business. So I will make suggestions from my point of view. Technical suggestions. This could be done, that could be done, this should be done. And I have to convince why it is required. Yeah. So here still no cost. I have no idea how much it will cost. It's just innovation. Sometimes it might be possible that we invest a lot and they get nothing else. Research. If you know what is going to come out of your work, it's not research. Research is something which is not known. Right? You are trying to find out something which is not known till today. If you know that, okay, I will do this work and at the end I will get this back, then you are doing just work, it's not research. Yeah. You should have a rough understanding or a prediction, but it might change. It might not work in the way you want. Yeah. So that is research. The results are not known to anyone. And that's why when you go for your PhD, the experts who are sitting there, they also don't know what you're going to talk about. Yeah. The results are just present here, and you have to analyze the results. And you have to get something constructive, important out of it. Yeah, that's research. Yeah. Sometimes if your analysis is wrong, then you have a problem. Okay? So the rule of defense is there are no marks, there is nothing right or wrong. I have done this, these are my results, this is my understanding, this is my analysis, and I think this is correct. The other person when he says that it's also correct, if he says not correct, yeah. So when you present, make your first suggestions. When the company decides, okay, 1, 2, 3, the first 2 are not good, or they are good, but we don't want to invest in that. So one topic will be finalized, and then they will ask, okay, please perform a feasibility study and submit us the report. So we will submit the report after doing detailed research and understanding about that topic which is finalized. Then comes the second presentation, where we give a much detailed explanation and, if possible, how much it will cost. So the company will say good, or it will say not good. If it says good, then you can start your work. When you are working with small and medium-sized companies, as I said, there are no research departments of their own. So you are the person who is working with the head, the business person of the company, so the director or the CEO. Most of the directors or the CEOs are not technical persons. They are business-minded people. And the people who are working in the company, they are technical people. So first you have to convince the boss, the head, who is not technical. So he will listen to you, but he doesn't understand anything or much of it. He will just see if it is profitable or not profitable. He understands money, he understands business, but he doesn't understand technology. He just sees that if I implement this, after 5 years I will get such a profit, or I will go in loss. He has no understanding, right? His sixth sense or fifth sense or whatever sense. Yeah? And when you are able to convince him that if we do this, then we will get a profit and our company will be much stronger, much higher in competition, then he says, okay, good, we will do it. And then he sends you to the technical department. So there we are again experienced engineers sitting in front of you, 15 years experience, 20 years experience. Some are about to retire, 30 years experience. So you are presenting this idea in front of them. Most of the engineers, they don't want to change their current system because they're working on it from last 20 years, 25 years. So if you bring innovation, then they will say, oh, we have to learn now again new thing. Yeah? Many people now who are a little bit older, they don't want to work with smartphones, so it's, we have to learn about, we are not interested. So this also happens in industry. So they will try to find out problems in your presentation. And they will try to say that this is not possible. You have to fight there. And you have to convince them that it's possible. And when they say yes, then the money is released. And then you start your research work. And then finally, in defined time frame, you are finished. And this happens for one industry. So in this way, you have to work with 6 industries. So, in short, I have tried to explain you how the qualifications are important, how the industry experience is important, how research is important, how everything should go in coordination with each other. Yeah? What is necessary, what is not necessary, how you should be focused. Yeah? Don't be afraid of taking risks. The only thing is you should be focused, you should be calculated. But if you don't take risks, then there is no fun. Yeah? There is no point at all. Right? The system has become unstable regularly. Because when it tries to reach another state, it goes to instability, if you remember. Right? And then you have to go for damping and other stuff, and then the system becomes stable. So whenever you want to qualify yourself, you want to reach the next step, there will be vibrations, there will be disturbances, there will be instability. Don't be afraid of instability. If life provides you instability, it's good. Not, there is another thing which is called as forced instability. Forced instability is like you are introducing instability in your life by yourself. Right? So you get a job, it's a permanent job, next 50 years, next 40 years, you will do the same job. Life is wonderful. If life doesn't offer opportunities, you have to snatch opportunities. Don't wait. Don't be afraid. Nothing bad happens. Yeah? You will think that, oh, if I take this risk, if I go there, what will happen? Nothing happens. If you try, there is always someone to help you. You are not alone. right? If I would have thought, oh, if I will I be able to learn German, not German, will I succeed, will I not succeed? In 2007, when I went to Germany, I think there is no one from India who is doing it. Perhaps today some people started to. At that time there was no one. You have to take risks. And once you start working, things will start moving automatically. And every person, yeah, he is the one who is doing something new. Yeah? If someone has invented this stuff, yeah, he is the first one to invent it. So what? So what? But are you sufficiently motivated and inspired now to move further? So with interaction, I think it will go a little bit further. So from my side, I will stop here now. I think I took a lot of time. So if you have any kind of questions, as I said, it's not a right or wrong question, it's only a question. We should not be afraid of asking questions. Go for it. If I could answer, I will say yes, and I will answer. If I don't know, then I will not answer it wrongly. So don't be afraid. I say, oh, I don't know. Yeah. So whether it is about higher education, whether it is about industry, whether it is about research, whether it is about anything, you can ask whatever you want. I think in the last 15 years, I have touched every single point so that I can answer you something which might be useful. Yeah. So now the control is in your hands. My part is finished. So first hand is already going on. Rest of you prepare the questions. Yeah.
Hello. Hello, sir. My name is Vishal Patil, and actually, sir, I am from civil department. So my question is related to my trade. Actually, sir, if I complete my MS in other countries, the way of construction or the process, the procedure of construction in different countries are different. According
The what is different? The process, okay.
procedure of construction of buildings, etc. So if I complete my MS in other countries, and if I complete my job for about 3 or 4 years over there, and if I have to come back in India, so will I have that scope if I come back in India?
So it's an interesting question. It's actually my own question because you're talking about 3 and 4 years, I'm talking about 12 or 13 years. So now if I want to come back to India, what are the possibilities or how we should do it? The technology is different, the profile what you're working with there is different. To be very frank and honest, I would say that it's not easy. But it's not easy. You really have to first understand what's happening here in India. What is the stage? So, for example, of the construction business, what you have learned there. So you might have learned advanced technology for something new, of course. Is it possible to implement it here? Yeah. Is the construction market ready for advanced technological implementation in India? So that is something what you have to analyze. And the important question is how you can contribute with your knowledge, with your skills that you have learned abroad for the construction business here in India. So it may not be a complete 180-degree shift or 360-degree shift, but step by step. You should not come and say, oh, you are doing all nonsense. Yeah, you are 10 years, 15 years back. Look what I have studied and what I did, and you have to do it in the same way. Step by step, you have to figure out, you have to study, and you have to find out how you can contribute. Yeah, and it's a challenging situation or scenario, but we have to work on it. I'm also working on it because in the next couple of years I'm planning to come back, and I'm trying to figure out how can I make a contribution of all my skills and knowledge for the development of our own country. So this is a very interesting concept that you go abroad, you learn something new, but the intention has to be that you come back and contribute your knowledge, your skill, your education for the development of your nation. This is very important. Yeah. Otherwise, the situation is horrible. Yeah. But it's a good question. I'm also working in it, and if I get some good new ideas, then I'll let you know. But initially, this is how I also started to understand the local market here, what is happening here, how you can bring improvements and developments, how you can contribute with your knowledge and with your skills here. Whether it is through technology, through planning, through resources. Okay. Did I answer your question or not? Yeah. So the next question. Yeah, as I said, any question. It's not that the question has to be very good. So you see, this question turned out to be a really good question, right? So people who want to come back to India, how after 3, 4, 10 years, how they can come back and start working here? The questions could be from industry, higher education.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Myself, Harsh, and I just wanted to ask which difficulties you face. I mean, which difficulties are facing while educating in higher college? I listen.
You have to hold your mic here. And now slowly, clearly.
What are you thinking about higher education in
What I think about?
higher education in other colleges like University of London and Cornell University? Which problems are coming instead of language?
Instead of language.
Yeah.
So which countries you mean to say exactly? London?
Yeah, London.
Or and
London and most of the time
and US?
Yes, USA.
Okay. Once I assume that you have identified your university, your course, and you got admission to this university and course of your choice. This is very important, first of all. Right. Secondly, I also assume that you have done the background study. Like what industries are you focusing in US, right, for your higher studies? So this is the second important work that you have to do. Yeah. Third, from our perspective, is the cost of education. So US universities or UK universities are not free for education. So they charge you fees. And the fees goes in lakhs. Yeah, 20 lakhs. I think some days before someone came to me and he was asking about the university, US university, and he said the budget now is 45 lakhs for 2 years. Right? So this cost is also an important factor. How are you going to finance it? And how are you going to get the money back also? Right? So all these factors we have to figure out. Again, you need to be very alert regarding the government decisions which are happening regarding foreigners. So for example, in US now the government is not so favorable for foreigners. Yeah. So it might be possible that after some time the UK government may turn out something like that. So every day the government is changing decisions, it's a sort of blocking foreigners from working. So they are inviting you to study. Yeah, you come here, study, invest money in our universities, in our education system. But after you finish your studies, you cannot work here. You have to go back. Right? So these rules you have to study every day. They are updating. And accordingly you have to plan. Okay? So these are a couple of factors regarding this UK and US universities. And then in future also, when you find that the government at the moment is not so favorable, it's elected on the basis of anti-foreign or anti-immigration concept, then in future you can expect that it will make it much difficult. Right? It's quite obvious. Trump is currently elected on the basis of anti-foreign or anti-immigration concept. So even if he doesn't have any strong rules or comparatively strong rules today, in future you might have it. So all this analysis you have to do, and if you are ready that if I get a job or I don't get a job, I don't care. Yeah, I have to go there, study and get a degree, and even if I come back, it's not a problem. Then it's fine. Otherwise, you have to have a problem. Yeah. Okay.
Which difficulties you face? Which difficulties? German instead of language or problem?
Instead of language, now I'm a pure vegetarian person. Yeah. So I eat only vegetables, and because of that, in Germany, they don't eat without meat, without non-veg. So breakfast is non-veg, lunch is non-veg, dinner is non-veg. Even if they go outside, they will eat something non-veg. So, and if you ask them vegetables, and they will give you some leaves, some salad. Yeah. So that's what they think is vegetarian. So this was one of the important problems that I faced going there. Yeah, language in the beginning, yes, but apart from that, then I think the rest of the life was quite easy because, as I said, when there are problems, there are also solutions. So there was also in the beginning a Gurudwara where they were strict vegetarians. So I could go there and learn some cooking from there. And once I knew cooking, then it was easier. That kind of problems you will not face in US or UK because there are a lot of Indians there. So they have everything what you find in India. Sometimes some things you will not find in India, but you will find there. And so that's the other thing. Other problems, I think, yeah, you have to understand the system, basically. But that system is easier as compared to here. So it's easy to drive a car in a systematic lane as compared to the traffic what we see here. So it's a change. And initially you might find problems. Right? So you press the brake here, just in front of the next car, when you want to stop. In Germany, you have to press the brake here. And you have to stop here and the other car is there. So these are other kind of difficulties that you face. But other than that, life is not so difficult as you think. Once you decide, then solutions are also there. When problems are there, then solutions are also there. But the same thing what I am trying to say is, if the costs are high, then you will be forced to take any kind of work. Yeah? If you're investing a lot, mine was free education, so I was not forced. So I just focused on my studies. I didn't have to do any other work for money. I got scholarship. I was financed from the university and from the industry. But if you're not, then you will have to do any kind of work. And this is the most important fear, I would say, that people pick up any kind of jobs once they go abroad, and then they lose focus on their studies, and finally they end up doing something which they should not do. Right? Any other question? How many of you have become engineers by choice? How many of you have decided to become engineer when you were in first or second standard? Two. So all others are post engineers. Yeah? How many of you think after completing your BE that it was a good decision? Not with fear. Be honest, because there are no professors here, and I am not your professor. Yeah? So how many of you feel that, okay, I didn't want to become an engineer, but now I feel that it was the right decision? So it's not a compulsion that you should raise your hands. So the rest still don't feel that they have done the right choice. Yeah? So You also feel that it was not right choice? Yeah. You feel, who feels that it was still in final year also, who feels it was not right choice? I think a lot of people here, they increase their hands, right? So you feel that it was the right choice? There in the middle, the lady, you feel? So what could you do other than this better? Bit complicated questions. Right? Maybe afterwards, when you do your MS or PhD or postdoc, then you might think, okay, this is not the right choice. Okay, so yeah. Okay, the scholarship sometimes you get from here. I did not get it from here because the education was really free. After getting there, then you come in contact with professors there during your studies, and when the professors have some research projects, then they get generate scholarships, and those scholarships then they will be awarded to you. So they will finance your other things also, like your living expenses and some other stuff. Yeah. So I think for US and other universities, some people get scholarships from here because the costs are too high. But for Germany, for example, it's very difficult to get scholarships from here. But there is a high possibility that when you go there, you get a scholarship or you get some kind of financial support. Right?
So we should take the higher education for scholarship.
Which are universities or countries? Countries. So I think Australia is also a little bit difficult to get scholarship. There you have to go there and then find some work. Sometimes if you are lucky enough, you get technical work with some professor. If not, then you have to find out some other work. But as far as scholarships are concerned, from here it's very difficult. If you get it 50%, 40%, something like that. You're lucky enough. For Germany, there is this DAAD scholarship for exchange students, scholarship for exchange students. So that kind of scholarship is possible. Some of my friends got that scholarship, but for that, your economic condition has to be a little bit poor and it's very less. And if hundreds and thousands of people apply, then maybe 10 people will get it. But it's called as DAAD scholarship, DAAD. In German, it's Deutsche Academic Austausch in German. So a German academic exchange institute or something like that.
Sir, yeah, take education in Germany or working in Germany or you take education in India, you get good job in Germany.
Possibilities are very less. Normally, if you have experience, like 10, 12 years, then you might get a job directly there. But they prefer someone who took education in Germany because they cannot analyze the level of your knowledge and your skills from the qualification that you get in India. Right? So they don't know how good you are, but they know the German education system. So when I completed MS from Germany, and they know that this student has this level of understanding and skills. Yeah. So the possibility is more if you study in Germany, to get a job in Germany. Otherwise, it's a bit difficult. After getting experience here, then it's possible.
Thank you.
Any question?
How you like the first division on everything? Because you will not say.
how I learned German. There are standard ways of learning German. Standard ways of you can join here German language institutes. So the much recognized institute is Dr. Institute. I think the office is in Pune, from Maharashtra, and Mumbai. So these are the recognized institutes. So you should learn German from those institutes. Then one in Hyderabad, Chennai. So all the cities they have an office. Dr. Institute, Language Institute. This is a backup, I would suggest. But I learned German actually by making friends. Yeah. So you just go there. I am personally of the opinion that when you are in Germany, you should not invest money in learning German. Everyone knows around your German that if you are in Germany, everyone is speaking German. Just go and talk to them. That's how I learned German. In classes, it's like very ideal way of learning German, and the people don't speak exactly in the same way. So you make friends, you attend their events, go and visit their families. The first important thing is stay away from your Indian friends in Germany. This is the first important step. I tell many students, if you want to live with your Indian friends, why are you coming to Germany? Right? So there, the first step is get away from Indian students, get away from Indian people, then try to contact German friends. And if you're going there for studies, it's quite easy because you're studying together, right? So it's easy to make friends, and with them, then you don't have to think. You can speak anything nonsense, and they will not mind because they are your friends. And in this way, you learn German faster. It's the best way of learning. Yeah. But otherwise, the standard institutes are both the institutes, in Pune and Mumbai. And I would suggest that if you want to go there, then at least learn some basic, then you have to go there, so it will be easier. Right? Very nice and interesting questions, actually. So you see, every question is so important, and you are shying away from questions. Yeah.
So what is the difference between German and Indian home automation?
Indian home automation. So you are specifically asking about home automation. So this is again a little bit interesting, I would say. Yesterday I had a meeting with one of the company in Nasik here, and they were also focusing on home automation. So maybe you must have heard about it. Smart living home automation, the name of the company. And you are lucky enough that yesterday I had the meeting, so I have a very good knowledge about what is the difference. Otherwise, I would have said that no, I don't have. So yesterday I visited this company and we had some discussion, and he told me that they have invented an innovative switch for home automation. So earlier, there used to be relays, there used to be transistors, there used to be transmitters, there used to be routers, yeah, and all these devices used to be connected with each other through wires, right? And then it was possible to control the lights, it was possible to control temperature, it was possible to control or switch on the television, and then there was issues of device compatibility, there were issues of the producer compatibility. So all the devices have to connect with each other first. And then if they are from different companies, then they have to communicate with each other. Right? So before, there were some companies like Schneider Electrics. So they used to have this monopoly. You have to take all the products from our company. So the lights have to be from our company, the switches, the relays, everything should be from our company. And the cost was in the range of 20 to 25 lakhs for one good home automation. The investment was about 20 to 25 lakhs. Now the company which I visited, they have developed a small switch. All this relays, all these transmitters, the router concept, everything is embedded in this small switch. So you just have to connect the switch to the power terminal, and with your mobile iPhone, you can control everything in the house. Yeah. In Germany, so coming to the point, the difference is in Germany till this monopoly is there, that one company says that everything should be ours. Yesterday, the company says that we can select anything from anywhere, our switch will work with everything. So the compatibility is very high. So in this way, you can select low-cost devices, and those low-cost devices are compatible with the switch. So for the same stuff, you have to invest 20 to 25 lakhs in Germany, or perhaps more. Here, I think they estimated about 5 lakhs. So what they have done. Interesting, right? It's made in India. The idea of digital India. We are getting support from Indian government. Yeah. And everything, the technological development, they have done it by themselves. Right? So this is a single switch where Wi-Fi is available as well as wired is available. And the most important thing is you don't need any remote or any other device to operate it. The same smartphone that you're using, with that smartphone, you just have to download the app. Everything becomes easy. And elimination of this wiring technology, this wiring what you need, that's a very important advantage, right? And secondly, what they said is retrofitting is possible. That means even if your house is old, it's possible to use this switch and automate it, right? Because no changes in the existing wiring system. So I think this is the striking difference between German home automation industry and what I saw yesterday. But this company is like new startup. The other companies in India are still working on the same old concept. This is something that innovative that I found yesterday. That might be the difference in coming future or coming years. Interesting question, thanks. So the girls don't have any questions, right? Because I understand that the problems of girls might be different than boys. So you don't have any questions regarding how you would go alone abroad, or how I would work in industry as a lady, or if they are all men working around and I'm the single girl, how I would do it, or you don't have any such questions? Like this. Wonderful. No questions, no problems. Actually, it's good, but there should be some questions or no. Or the questions are coming. So,
What is for the preparation of GRE, IS, or preparation?
what is
Suggestions for
suggestions?
preparation of the exam.
How you should prepare, or what? How you should prepare for the exam, or what is your question?
How you should prepare for the exam.
Okay.
Just or academic.
That's what I said. Joining academy is not a disadvantage. It always gives you some inputs, some suggestions, what you should do, what you should not do. It's like a very valuable resource. Joining an academy. So you should be able to pick those points which are useful for you. I would say that you have yourself also have to invest some time and some effort. Academy is useful to understand the technique. Yeah? If you are solving aptitude questions, it has to be solved in a specific time or as early as possible. It cannot take hours together to solve the questions. So the academy tells you exactly what you should do to solve it faster. Or if you want to memorize some words, the academy tells you some certain techniques to memorize a lot of words in English section. Or when you want to write the essay, the academy tells you how you should think. When you are given any topic, there is a standard framework, what questions you should ask yourself, so that your essay, in what you are writing, it is logical, it has a flow. So joining academy is always a good thing if you can afford. I think it costs costs like 22,000 to 25,000 currently in Pune. If you have the money, if you're ready to do it, it's not going to go waste. But you should believe all the time on yourself and your efforts. Academy is just for it, right? So it's a good idea. If you can afford it, I would suggest go for it, right? So only the specific guys are having some specific questions. The others don't have any questions. Or you have some questions. If you have problems asking questions in English, you can also ask questions in Marathi.
What is the difference in education and
Okay. So German education system starts with practical. So the first question they ask is, what can I implement? What is the practical outcome? And when they decide, okay, this is what I can implement or this is the practical outcome, then they decide what is the theory I need for this. So it's more or less practical oriented education. So people go for industry work after 12th. So they spend 3 years in industry working and then they start their bachelor. After bachelor, again they go for industry. Then they start for masters. If they want, otherwise they just work in industry. So it's an industry oriented, practical oriented education. So where the quantity is less. So I think the time what we and you people have spent here in engineering, they must be spending maybe 15, 16, 17% less. It's 30% less quantity. But when they finish, when they have some defined skills developed and they know exactly what they want to do or what they can do. So it's focused, practical oriented, experimentation oriented education. Right? So quantity is less, focus is more, and the theory at the end makes you capable enough to implement something. So you learn the theory, you implement something, and then you have the whole system, the concept ready. Right? And again, I said simplicity. And another important observation is when the education is in your mother tongue, it becomes much easier. Right? It becomes easier. So that's also an important advantage. They do everything in German, so life is easy. Yeah? So let us see in future we will try to make some innovative changes in engineering education. We have to do it actually, because today the engineering colleges are, I think, at the level of saturation where they need something new. They need industry-oriented education changes. They need practical-oriented education changes. Otherwise, the workforce, the students are such a large number, and if so many students are coming out without proper skills, then it's very difficult to get jobs. And everyone is going for jobs. So the education is generating job-seeking engineers. And German education, I would say, is producing job-creating engineers. This is also a striking difference. Yeah. So the education has to change. And questions in your mind should be, how can I start my own company? How can I start my own startup? What can I do? Rather than where can I get the job? Right. So the questions have to be changed. And when those questions are changed, it means the system has to be changed. Right. So in short, Indian education system, engineering system is producing engineers who are seeking for jobs. They are creating jobs. Right? Striking difference. Yeah.
indeed full of knowledge, special content, and being a teacher also, I could learn so many things today. First, or we can say the thing which most inspired me today, that is stabilize your life to achieve the new height. So most of the engineers, most of the students are very much worried about their stability or job. And the lastly, what you said, like Indian market is, or Indian engineering is creating a job seeking engineers, and the difference is between Germany and India is they are creating job creating engineers. So we have to shift our focus and stop worrying about getting jobs and start developing leaders between you and see that the entrepreneurs will be coming up. So I am especially thankful to Pankaj traveling so far to come over and guide and mentor you people. And we are really thankful to Pankaj on behalf of the honorable management of Pravara Rural Education Society and Team Pravara and Pravara Religion Calling Ground. I request all of the audience to give up the feedback, to give the feedback, and we also would appreciate the feedback from Pankaj later on. And I request Pankaj to come over again and again. Also, and once again, thank you, one and all. Thank you very much.
Thank you a lot. It was an honor, it was a pleasure that I could share some of my knowledge and my experience with all of you. And I think it could drive you all to make some strong, intelligent decisions in life. I'll be very happy. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
So let's stand up for the one group photo. I request Pankaj to come down with Dr. Priya. You please sit there. Please sit there.